Lonnie and Betsy Evans began their relationship with a clear vision of the family they would raise together. When their sons Peter and Tommy were born, they were off to a perfect start. But they always knew there was room in their hearts and home for a child in need of a family.
We talked about adopting. We really had a sense that someday we would be adopting.
And both of us had come to a conclusion, separate of one another, that we would consider a child with special needs.
It was 3 years ago that their dream of adoption led them on an amazing journey. An aunt of Betsy's told her about a Russian orphanage and a 3-year-old little girl who was abandoned at birth because she was born with birth defects that left her unable to walk. The little girl's name was Elena.
She had heard about Elena from a colleague of hers, and she felt like she was supposed to tell us about Elena. And so when she did, you know, it was amazing how we just saw it come together.
Without even seeing a photograph, Betsy and Lonnie took a leap of faith and set out to adopt Elena. Their search led them to this orphanage in the Russian town of Novocherkassk.
I didn't know what to expect at all before we'd seen any video or any pictures. I just knew that she couldn't walk and that we didn't know why. We didn't know what the diagnosis was, what was causing it.
They began working through miles of diplomatic red tape to make the adoption a reality. 4 months passed. Then they finally received the first photos of Elena.
And so when we actually saw her picture for the first time, I was just stunned at how beautiful she was, how darling, these big brown eyes, and she was just perfect.
A video also arrived, giving Betsy and Lonnie their first glimpse into Elena's medical challenges.
That was overwhelming to me, to see those precious little feet turned upside down and toes pointing in, missing toes and things like that.
Lonnie and Betsy shared their plans for adoption at their church. As fate would have it, both a nurse from Shriners Hospitals for Children and a local Shriner were in attendance. They referred the couple to the Shriners Hospital, located in Minneapolis.
We went to Shriners with our family before we even had her here, just to get used to the facility, to meet the doctors, and to prepare ourselves so that we could prepare her better too.
It is at Shriners where they learned about Elena's condition and the recommended approach to treatment.
Elena was born with a condition called longitudinal deficiency of the tibia. It's a rare birth defect where a child is born without a shin bone or with a partial shin bone.
The Evans were told that if there was ever any hope of Elena walking, her feet would have to be amputated so she could be fitted with prosthetics.
I prayed that it wouldn't be so and that it wouldn't have to happen, but it became more of a reality at that point.
They were assured that with prosthetics, Elena could be as active as any other child. 6 months of determined efforts finally paid off. After a 26-hour trip and a few hours sleep, Lonnie and Betsy found themselves face to face with a little girl who would become their daughter.
They had combed her little hair over to the side, and she had this little kind of torn dress on, tattered looking dress, and these big brown eyes, this shy little face, and I just wept at that point. It was overwhelming to see her in person.
You see her in her little tights and these wonderfully twisted little feet that are so much part of this equation.
It felt like I knew her, but yet I would look at her and I could tell I really knew nothing about her, and she was going to be my daughter.
10 days later, the adoption was final. As they prepared to leave for America, Elena would be leaving behind the only life she had ever known for a new beginning with a brand new family. Having never experienced a family of her own, Elena now found herself with 2 new brothers and 2 sets of grandparents. Over the course of the next few months, she adapted quickly to American life, bonding with her new family and learning a new language and culture. But looming in the near future was an inevitable surgery date at Shriners Hospital.
With Elena having been home only a few months before surgery, the fear of losing trust, the fear of that was very powerful and very real.
Elena still understood very little English, so the Evans enlisted the help of an interpreter to discuss the upcoming surgery.
They explained to her that her feet that she had, beautiful feet, but didn't work for walking, and that we wanted to help her to walk, and that they would need to take those feet off, and then she would need to heal for quite a while, and then she would be able to walk. She'd need to learn how to walk on prosthetics. She said, okay, I want new feet. She said, I want feet so I can run, I can play soccer, I can ride a bike. She just took it on head first. Okay, let's do this deal. I want to walk.
3 months after her arrival, it was time for Elena's first surgery.
The night before, I remember I painted her little toenails for the last time, and I just held her feet while she slept, and I just cried.
Dr. Crandall reinforced the positive, life-changing impact the surgery would have on Elena's future.
When she first saw us, she was a 3.5-year-old child that had never walked. And with a couple of fairly straightforward operations, I think Elena's function will be amazingly different.
In the final moments before surgery, Lonnie and Betsy reflected on the decision they had made.
There's certainly a sense of confidence. You're in the right place. I mean, this is the best place for her to have these procedures done.
Once we made that final decision that this really was the only way she would ever walk, we knew that we needed to go through with this surgery for her.
Elena's first surgery was a great success. After weeks of recovery, she underwent a second surgery. Exactly 1 year after the Evans first began their search for Elena, she was ready to be fitted with her first prosthetics.
You can put your shoes back here and see how they fit. We put the prosthesis on her, and she was able to stand and use my shoulder, and she adapted very quickly, very well. She was walking within 20 minutes to a half hour.
After those first tentative steps, there was no stopping Elena.
So she did go to therapy at Shriners, which was very, very helpful. Shortly thereafter, they said, she's getting it.
It was only maybe a month and a half or so before Elena was walking on her own.
It's hard to imagine that the little girl born with no hope of ever walking
Good job, Lena.
is an unstoppable 6-year-old today. In Elena's short time in America, she has excelled socially, academically, and athletically.
Through it the whole way.
She has a strong interest in sports, especially hockey.
At certain things, she was right up there with all of the children. With some things, she was way beyond. She was really the only child who knew how to play hockey, and she would do switchovers, and she knew just how to maneuver, and it was pretty amazing.
Goal!
Elena's love of hockey may be a link to her Russian heritage.
Elena's proud of Russian hockey players because she loves hockey. Sergei Fedorov is Russian, and he's really good, and so she was proud to be associated with that when we would watch games, and she would say, Fedorov, Fedorov.
Sports, it has been a really wonderful vehicle for her. It's given her a lot of confidence, and I think sports will be kind of her equalizer in a sense.
Let's race. Ready? Stop at the blue line.
I'm going inside.
Skating is like
a bird, because it's trying to get his speed, kind of, and then I'm trying to get my speed too. Then the bird glides, and then that's what I do.
Her determination and her drive to learn how to walk and to be active has been her love of sports. So I think it's just natural. It's something that she was just born to do and loves.
Elena's amazing journey would never have been possible without the determination of a loving couple and the dedication of a remarkable hospital system, giving Elena a second chance for a new beginning.
Shriners Hospital has made a difference not only with the medical side of it, but the human side of it, and making it a family experience for us.
I think coming and having a home with a mom and dad is a huge life change, but for her, to be able to get up and walk, I think, changed everything for her. Shriners' part in that, we would not be where we are now if it wasn't for Shriners.